everybody. Welcome to the Friday morning edition of the Daily Market Commentary. I'm your host, Chuck Fulkerson. Hope everybody had a great trading day yesterday. We're going to do what we do each and every day here on the channel. We are going to identify potential breakout trades and reversals from an educational perspective, giving you the opportunity to see how trades develop over time because we draw lines on the charts and we leave them on the charts. The reason we do that is it allows you to see how trades become effective over time. You know, one way that I've actually talked to people about how to use this channel from an educational perspective is to go back, and part of the reason why I will tell you there's not every day that I want to get my butt out of bed and do this video, but part of the reason why I do this is because I really want you to be able to go back in time and see the evolution of trades. There's basically every single day, minus maybe 2 or 3 days, for nearly a year now of identifiable opportunities. And what's great is you can see real time how they were set up and see how they changed from day to day. So go back, use that as an educational tool and a lesson in order to just solidify yourself on some of the levels and how they work. And that's really, you know, I think experience is the best teacher. You still have to be willing to push the button and to get in because you've got to handle your own risk. So there's my public service announcement for the day. So before I move on any further, do me a favor, click the subscribe button down below so that you get the updates, and then the little alert bell will give you the updates whenever we post the video. All right, so S&P. I will tell you, I was pleasantly surprised yesterday how well the market held up with the sell-off of Facebook. Everybody knows Facebook had the single biggest one-day loss of value in the history of the stock market. I don't know if anybody realized that was really the case, but now, obviously, dollars are much bigger now than they've ever been, but Facebook had the single biggest one-day sell-off in the history of the stock market on this humongous gap down. And I really felt like this gap down was going to take a big bite out of the Nasdaq and out of the S&P, and that we were going to have a pretty rough day yesterday. But I got to tell you, the Nasdaq didn't really suffer all that much. You know, a little bit of a pullback, but the pullback really just brought it back into this very, very strong trend line. So I'm actually pleasantly surprised how much we didn't see additional sell-off in the Nasdaq from the move down in the Facebook stock. And so that gives me a little bit more hope of what I was looking at for the day. Now, the S&P is telling me, you know, I really see that we have this kind of topping pattern and a rising trend line. So usually I would look at that as a potential breakout to the upside. However, you see this little 15-minute level here. Now, how do I know it's 15 minutes? Remember, a purple dashed line means that it's a 15-minute chart. And it's a dashed line, which means that it's a confirmation entry on a 15-minute chart. So that tells me it's my lowest probability style of entry. Now, we are really close to returning the losses that we had for the year off of just those few days. It's not quite there yet, but just about. And so in that case, we you know, once we set that new all-time high, just be aware of kind of what's happening market-wise, and still keep your, you know, it doesn't mean that we're out of the woods forever, but it does mean that I'm not going to be shorting opportunities. So, you know, when I look at the ES on a 4-hour time period, and we're going way back here, I have this little tiny area set up right here where there's that high upper wick. Now, probably a better, more clean area is this area right up in here, which is just this little bit of basing before the drop after the pivot high. So what I'm thinking at this moment, I'm going to leave the purple area on there, knowing that it's slightly lower probability. And though we had a slowing of momentum, that momentum slowing went away once we had the announcement of the EU trade deal, and we popped up. It actually got our momentum back up. And that's why I don't ever make decisions on the momentum alone, right? It's still got to get hit into a good high-quality level. So we are continuing our rally higher. I think you may get a breakout opportunity if you get above here. What I would say is if you do get to that area, be very tight on the stop because of that little level above us, and then there's another one a bit higher, but we're almost back to our new all-time high in this current situation. So I do like the fact that we're basing a little bit sideways here. I wouldn't be completely surprised to see a bit of a pullback heading into the weekend. I've been a little cautious on things over the weekend for a while, and I'm going to continue to be that way. But here's this little area here where if we do get a pullback, I'd like to see this could be another shot to get back in right at this region here. All right, Nasdaq. The NQ had that gap down on the Facebook announcement, and then we basically did nothing yesterday. And then look at this big candle here, right, where we had this long wick up, long wick down, and then ultimately not a whole lot, right? That was on movement, I think, from Amazon, $100 up, $100 down in Amazon in just a few minutes. And now we've continued to march higher in the overnight hours. Nothing I want to add really to my NASDAQ areas. I think the NASDAQ is, I put it in the S&P, but there's really nothing for me to add here in the NASDAQ at the moment. Crude oil. So crude oil, we did get the little reversal off of this level that I talked about earlier in the week, and it's got a little bit of a bounce down from it. Now, I will tell you that as we arrived into the level, though I've got the level marked off, I've had a couple of people ask me, did you wind up taking it? No, in this one I didn't, and let me explain why. And I'll be the first to tell you when I don't take levels. I didn't love, first of all, we did nearly a touch and didn't get in, right? So then I switched it to a confirmation style entry. Then we did a little touch and go, which really made me feel stronger about the confirmation style entry. Well, here we got the area in, and so I didn't like the movement here, these high upper wicks. Though those high upper wicks were pretty good, I wasn't happy with the way that we came out of the level. There was just not a lot of oomph coming out of the level. I wasn't actually able to get to my computer in time to see it as it came out of the zone. I will tell you, had I been in front of my computer at the time, no question I would have taken the position. But I looked at my computer right about here. I wasn't in front of it yesterday morning. I was doing a couple of other things, and I got into it right about here. And I said, I'm not a huge fan of the fact that we haven't really moved out of it. Now, turns out we did get a pretty nice little move out of it. So if you were able to take that one, great. Glad you have ridden it down. I did not, unfortunately, get to participate in that one. But now I've got to remove that level because that level is no longer going to be a strong level because we've traded all the way to the top of it. Matter of fact, it now would almost become a good long opportunity if we break above it. That's something to consider now. Since we hit it, right? Think about that level. We hit it once, and then we actually almost touched it once and then moved down. Hit it a second time and then moved down. Hit it a third time and then moved down. Every time we hit that level, right? Remember that the level was here. What are we doing to the number of orders that are in that area? Well, we're reducing them. And by reducing them and reducing them and reducing them, what we're doing is we're setting up for a potential breakout. And that would be a breakout over $70 a barrel. Let's next look at gold. So solid gold. We got a gap up in our gold market. However, we didn't get a breakout above our line. That line is actually held pretty strong. So now that tells me that it's even better of an opportunity, the fact that we didn't get a breakout above it. Looking at bonds, Aussie, Euro, Canadian. So in our bond market, we did not get our rally back up into here, so there's really nothing I want to add at the moment. We may get a little reversal in through here. You could also look at this as a potential breakdown right here below that area there, if you are so inclined. The Aussie, those of you that caught the Aussie trade, cha-ching, right, as that one is continuing its move down. I mean, that was a very simple gap fill trade. Price hit the gap fill and then has gotten a really strong move away from there. So let me know in the comment section below if you caught that one. The euro, we had a little reversal here, and it made a pretty nice move up. And I said it's time to make sure that you adjust your stops, and that's why we adjust our stops, because look at what it did. It came back around Now, but look at this. And I left the lines on the charts, and this is part of the reason why I leave the lines on the charts. Look at how this old area where we had an imbalance, price came up, that level worked out very well. The next time, look, we came down to it, base, fell. So this area that was old support now acts as new resistance. And look at this one wick into that resistance area before a strong drop-off. So I can certainly no longer use this going forward. But that's really what happened, is that that resistance area became a pretty strong drop-off point. And now I think that we may get a little bit of a reversal right in here, but I'm not going to add anything. I've got enough levels already identified. Canadian dollar, our breakout trade is still moving along, although for many of you, I'm sure you've moved your stop up to lock in some profit. But Canada, as that one has continued its move from our initial breakout. Nat gas. Now, our nat gas breakout, it did the classic trading maneuver of, all right, it broke out above the line. We started to get the movement, and then it just failed miserably. So the nat gas breakout trade did not work out. And so that one, I've got to remove this area. I don't have my mouse. I'm using my trackpad and keep hitting the wrong side. Okay, Great British Pound. You know, I like this area right up here in the pound. I don't know if we're going to get back to that area anytime soon, but I love areas like this where we have a little bit of consolidation below a pivot high. And where we are right now, you know, we could drop below this region and see another continued leg down. Japanese yen, we got a nice move off our Japanese yen level. I'm not so much in love with this level anymore for a second go around. So I'm actually going to remove this level. Now I may be interested in this area down here, which is a bit lower. This bit lower area could be a decent opportunity. Keep an eye out on the chat, on the Twitter feed, in case we make some changes on that one. And then copper. So copper, we had the breakout to the upside, which worked out well. The short came in on right here, and that's continuing to work out well. Now, if you look at it, I'm going to put a line here. If you missed the short, and I'm not a huge price pattern guy, but this is putting in essentially a head and shoulders pattern, right? So as the more we base above this area, the better a breakdown below here might become pretty valuable. So keep an eye on that one. So all in all, a couple of really decent opportunities. Been a pretty good trading week for those of you that have been actively taking a look at some of these areas. Remember, it is Friday, so understand your risk of holding things over a weekend as they do increase. One thing I will point out is that our small caps have not really been participating as much in this rally as our larger cap equities have been, and you know, this is kind of typical of earnings season at times, because the big companies that come out and announce earnings get a little bit more of the news and a little bit more, you know, in your face kind of a setup. But just be aware of some of the things and some of the changes that can occur, especially over the earnings season, and really what that can mean for you. So if you have any questions, please send me an email, chuck@iiefinancial.com. I do my best to answer each and every email that does indeed come in. And then for those of you that are traders, we hope that we can be as helpful to you as possible here on this channel. If you know somebody who's more of an investor style that doesn't really want to get into the trading, but maybe they're wondering, hey, how do you do that? Or how do I, and they're looking for an advisor, please send them my way. I'd love to, I take referrals from friends and family very seriously when they do come along. And we're heading into the fourth quarter of the year, so I do have a couple of openings available for new accounts. So thanks so much, everybody. I hope you're having a great day, and if there's something I can do for you, please don't hesitate to reach out. See you soon.